Happy Monday, everyone. I hope that everyone right now is staying warm. You're in a safe, healthy, and happy place. I know today I got the day off because it was a snow day. I am a teacher. I know there's some mixed feelings there, but the most important things are safety, and we want to make sure that everyone is healthy. So tomorrow I'll be back uh, in the building. And I'm looking forward to seeing the kids tomorrow and hearing all about how their snow day went. I know some people, I was listening to the radio, some people said that they just put their child out on the porch just to dabble in the snow, but they was too afraid to send them out. And then some people were making ice cream in the snow and all of these different things. So I hope your day was restful, if not productive. So next Monday, there's going to be a special announcement regarding the rebranding of Serenity Nail Polish. I wanted to make sure that you all knew so you can tune in. It is the first of the month, so definitely be on for more information. But without further ado, we have a special guest with us here tonight. Amy Allure. Amy Allure is a visual artist, creative entrepreneur, and art educator based in Queens, New York. She is the founder of Allure Art Academy, a multidisciplinary creative space and community dedicated to art, healing, and cultural expression. With over 6 years of experience in arts education and community programming, Amy designs immersive art experiences that blend creativity, storytelling, and intentional reflection. Her work is deeply influenced by her culture, faith, and lived experiences, navigating grief, shaping a practice rooted in resilience, joy, and transformation. And through exhibitions, workshops, and curated events, Amy create spaces rather where art becomes a tool for connection and restoration. Her work has reached children, adults, and creatives across New York City and beyond, positioning her as a trusted voice at the intersection of art education, creative entrepreneurship, and healing centered community building. Please help me welcome Amy.
Hello. Oh, I'm on stage. Okay, period. Yes.
Amy, welcome. It's so good to have you on. I'm excited to have you on. Amy is a really good friend of mine. Now I can actually say that. She's
Yes.
someone who I started off in the community with, and I met her through events right out here in Queens, vending. And we know part of the story of Serenity Nail Polish is Serenity started taking the nail polish and starting to create artwork. And then from there, I started to realize that she also had a love for art, and Amy has been such an inspiration in Serenity's life as well. So I would like you to start off by telling us who you are and what is it that you do.
Okay, well, my name is Amy Allure. I'm an artist. I am an educator, an art educator. I'm a curator, and I'm the owner and founder of Allure Art Academy, located in St. Albans, Queens. So I facilitate different workshops that help people to unlock their creativity, but also just unlock their creative allure and whatever that is, and providing spaces for healing. So that's pretty much what I do in a nutshell.
I love that. I love that. Now, we have to talk about what inspired you to start Allure and what did the early days look like for you?
Well, I was inspired because, okay, I was a teacher. I'm still a teacher. But when I was teaching first grade, I would always go to paint places just for fun, go by myself, and I'd have to go to Long Island or go to Harlem or go to Brooklyn. And I'm like, why is it a whole hour for me to get home to do something? And I started to notice that there was just like a need in the community for some type of a creative space, because who says that St. Albans or that in this South Jamaica area that there are no creatives, but we see nail salons, 4 nail salons on one block. So I'm like, okay, we need space for that. And then I eventually, and I'll say in 2017, 2018, I started really following my art and owning the fact that I am an artist and sharing with people that I'm an artist. And just connecting with more art galleries and artists in the New York City area, and noticing that every time I had to go to an event, it had to be way out in somewhere else outside of Queens. So I just started like studying those different franchise places that have pay and sit places and figuring out what's the business model? How are they able to do something like this and be profitable? So I ended up finding a space, and just trusting what God placed within me to say to do, and knowing that I had everything that I needed to be able to do it.
That's right.
Yeah, in April 2019, I opened Allure Art Studio, which has now rebranded to Allure Art Academy.
We love it.
Yes.
First of all, you spoke so much about just your creativity and trusting the gift that God gave you, right? When did you even realize like that your creativity could become a business and not just a passion?
I think around that time when I just started to see that so many people needed a space like this. Um, and I going from transitioning from being a teacher to then doing paint and sip classes, I started to see like this is something that everybody loves. Kids, adults, senior citizens, everyone can pretty much do painting and what they want to do painting. So I knew that there was a need there. I was one of the first of my friends to have my own space. So I don't know what really took over. I can honestly say it was the Lord Himself just telling me to just go forward and jump and leap. And that's something, a voice that we often don't listen to, or we doubt, or we speak doubt into ourselves, or we listen to other people saying, you can't do this. But I think once I sat my parents down and really told them, this is my thing. I'm an artist. I'm not just an artist. I believe that this is something I need to share with people. Um, and I kind of had their just approval, I guess, and their support rather, then I just had to go and do it.
And that's big, right? To step out on faith, because you don't know, right? It's literally just trusting that everything is going to work out the way it's meant to. I know early on and even today, right? There's plenty of challenges that we as entrepreneurs face. What would you say was one of your major challenges that you faced as an entrepreneur, and how did you overcome it?
Ooh, I have so many. How much time we got tonight?
Take as long as you need, girl.
um, so the biggest challenge overall is having a physical space and knowing that that takes a lot of work. The same way that we have a lot to do when it comes to having your own home or something like that. You got to shovel, you got to make sure your heat is on, this thing is not working, your toilet's backed up, whatever it is, like always something. So that was the biggest challenge, that there's always something happening in the space. When I come in there, it's like I literally have to walk through from front to back to make sure that everything is intact. And then if not, I have to have some trusty handyman or someone right on a call that can come and help. So that's the biggest thing of like having a physical space. The other part is navigating real life and still showing up for people. Still knowing that people expect a vibe, or they expect your energy. They expect you to be present, to be professional, to be there, and navigating through grief, and also just through personal things that I was just going through in my life. But then I know I have to put that to the side and then still show up in business was definitely a challenging thing that I still work through to this day. But I know that, I just try to pray through it and know that everything that's meant for me will find me at the end of the day.
That's right. That's right. Thank you so much for sharing that. Because, like we mentioned, there's so many different challenges that you could come across in your entrepreneurship journey. And I witnessed the journey from Allure Art Studio to Allure Art Academy, and it is just amazing to see that transition because so many people is always like, what's next? What's next? What's next? And sometimes you don't even know what's next, right? And
Mhm.
like you said before, the same way you trusted God with the vision, I watched you trust God with the movement. And that was super important in the process. So um yeah, like that what you shared right there was very real. And that's something that a lot of people, don't always speak about in terms of like having the physical space and going through all of the things, right? So that's definitely important. Now, in your own words, how would you say that Allure has grown or evolved since you first opened your doors and being in going from one space to another?
Ooh. So right now, Allure is more like about art education than the party vibes. I feel like before it was very much just about whatever is the fun vibe, and we just gonna turn up and put this on, and it was a lot. And I had to acknowledge that I really do enjoy being an educator,
Mhm,
and that it was important for me to teach people how to do art and not just tapping into the fun part about painting, but then recognizing like, wait, we don't even really have art spaces that are for us, that we are learning about art as well, or learning how to do different things. So that was important for me to, just tap into, okay, I want to reframe this, and having it just be in a party spot as a Lore Art Studio, it was a lot. And I just recognized that, I wasn't in that space anymore to be that person. I wasn't really like, after grief, after losing my sister, especially,
mhm,
I was not in a space to be showing up for people the way that I was. But I knew that being an educator was something that was still important for me, and
mhm.
something that I needed to share with the world.
Yeah. I mean, that speaks volumes, right? In terms of just transition. Like transition can hold a lot when it comes to evolving, but like I said before, it's all mapped out. What you're doing right now is you're walking in purpose and also having that self-reflection piece that we as entrepreneurs have to have sometimes, right? Like, what space am I in? Am I in? How am I staying true to my mission and my vision, but still uplifting and serving, the community around me? And so I do want to ask you, in what ways do you think that the work of Allure is intentionally serving and uplifting the community?
Well, the joy that I see in people to just come together and have a place that's local, that right there is the biggest thing. Everybody's always like, "Oh my gosh, like I live around the corner," or "I'm down the block. I didn't even know this was here in the hood." And that for me was is like the biggest joy for community, Also, when I think about the idea of community, it's not just the physical space, but kind of like the family vibe of Allure, knowing that, people like you, that you come in, then you have Serenity coming in, and then you come in again, and then, it's just like a family affair, and knowing that it's a safe space for people to connect with me, but also to connect with each other, to network with each other, to just have a great time. And then it's like expanding community, where I do a lot of events for the Queens community, where I'm going into schools and I'm pushing in and teaching students about how to empower themselves through their art in the classroom. I'm also working with teachers and getting them to be the light of the classroom, because we know that that's hard. And then I'm also going into, I have different events that I do at Roy Wilkins Park, or community with other Black owned businesses in Queens, where I've partnered with I Am Yogi Studios, or different politicians that are in Queens, and just kind of like building this web of, hey guys, we're here. Art is important. And I want to be an advocate for that in whatever way that I can, because there aren't many of us in this community that are doing this type of work, and seeing that, art is that one area that there is no right or wrong. So the student that's having a hard time to feel confident, they can come to Allure, get their canvas, and not feel pressure about staying in the lines or getting it right. They're just being themselves. They're just being authentically them. And with that is no better feeling than walking away feeling like, oh wow, I did that. And they don't feel that enough in their own classrooms or even at home, you know? So I value just the idea that community is more than just physical space, but also just the connections that Allure has made over time and the power that we have to continue growing even more.
I couldn't agree more with you, Amy, because the work that I see you doing in the community, the paint nights and the academy, which in Serenity will be there next Saturday. But I love the fact that you do meet people in our community, and it's like, listen, you can go to Amy for art, you can go to this person for tutoring, like you can literally name the people. And I love the resources that we are offering, especially when it comes to things like art, right? I remember back in the day, even growing up, art was seen as kind of like, oh, you want to do art? Like choose another profession. And now I see more of the artwork and more of the artistry, and I'm grateful that art is getting the shine that it long should have gotten, like a long time ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course, because it's always been around, and
Mhm,
I'll go back to even touching on that. I started painting at 11,
mhm,
and in this same community that Allure Art Academy is in, and my mom didn't have a space to bring me to do art, and I didn't even think about it as a possibility. I was
mhm.
just kinda like, "Mommy," I don't know, she said she put me in dance, she put me in piano, and I was like, it's cute or whatever, but it just wasn't really my thing. And I feel like after sitting in that, especially as a teacher and recognizing like, wow, we really don't have spaces for students to go. That's
Mhm,
what really fuels me even more. Where now at the academy, I'm showing them, look at what you can do if you follow your art. That
mhm,
there are possibilities out there because we didn't grow up with the idea that being an artist is profitable or being an artist is something that a lot of people would want to do or that they can do. But now I'm here like, no, I'm gonna teach you about all these people, contemporary Black artists who are doing amazing things and making millions of dollars sharing their art with people. And they're
mhm,
amazed because a lot of people can't even name five current artists of color who are doing their thing, right? And it's a field that people need to know, no, this is a
mhm.
possibility as long as you have the confidence, the skill, and you don't even need the full skill. You just need to have the confidence to say, yes, this is art. And somebody will say, you know what, I'm gonna buy that just because of the story and just because of who you are,
Mhm.
and know that you can name your price and somebody will be there, so I'm really I feel very much fueled by that idea of just instilling confidence and creativity in students.
I love that. And you know what's interesting? That you shared about the fact that building that confidence in, young people, right? What is something that you're hoping that emerging creatives or the next generation of creators can bring to the future? Like, what is that hope and that vision that you have for the next generation of artists?
Yeah. So first off, I want everybody to tap into their allure, and what their allure is. Like, what is alluring about you? What is your creative energy? And not feeling shy to share it. Because a lot of people say, oh, it's just a hobby. It's just something I do for fun. It's not that serious. But then when you really tap in and say, no, I'm a chef, or I actually am doing dope things. I'm a designer, or I'm an interior decorator, or whatever it is that you do, that is you being your authentic self. So, regardless of it being about painting, like it's not just about painting, it's about your art and whatever your art is, right? Because your art can also be through music. Art is just creating. So, whatever it is that you create and you put your stamp on, I would want people to be able to feel confident to share that. And we're not in a space completely as a society, I think, even in our age group, where people are feeling comfortable to say, I'm gonna put myself out there in this way. And then knowing that even when you do put yourself out there, it's not always gonna be perfect. And you're not always gonna get the outcome that you're looking for, but it's always a journey. It's a process. It's a learning curve that you just gotta navigate through, right? So I hope that by being connected to me and to Allure Art Academy, that people walk in and they're kind of like, wow, this is inspiring me to follow my allure. This is inspiring
Mhm.
me to discover even what that is. I have so many people that tell me, I don't know what my creative gift is. I don't even know what's my allure. Like, I haven't even thought about that. I'm just living for the man at this point. And I don't want that for anyone, because you're not really living in your true passion and your true purpose of who you are. So ultimately, I want people to share their art, discover their art, and use the space for teaching their own workshops or their own classes. Like, let's say somebody wants to do some type of art event that has to do with, they want to do something like cake decorating class, or they want to do candle making class, or they want to do their own whatever, facilitate their own class. I want them to be able to use that space for that. And I also want people to be able to see Allure as like a building block or like a lily pad for them to really get closer to whatever it is that they're supposed to be doing. So I hope that with Allure, people just are inspired. They want to create, they want to share, and that they can network as well. Because I
Mhm.
know at some point I would love to start a membership community for creatives, especially
Mhm.
queens, who we could just get together and either have like sessions about how do you fight creative blocks, or how do you navigate
Mhm.
marketing, or what do you do when you don't have anybody buying your art? Like, what do how do you do your next step? Or even just meeting up and going to a museum together. Like, I just
Mhm.
love the idea of having that kind of community. So I'm working on that. I don't know when that's gonna happen for real, but it will one day, like MLK said, it will happen.
This girl is so silly.
I don't know
I
when.
love that idea, and I will definitely be down because we already know that I live around the corner, so that would be great.
Yeah.
Because it is nice to like network and talk and have those conversations about the spaces that you're in and how to push each other. Community is definitely important, in general, but definitely in entrepreneurship, because we all need that extra push sometimes, right, to keep going. Now,
Mhm.
can you share a moment that reminded you why this work truly matters for you or the community?
Um, I have so many running through my head, but one in particular, well, I'll say one general moment that happens often. I can share that. A lot of times when I'm doing my art workshops, at the very beginning, I always tell a little bit of my story. And my story is one of resilience, of discovery, of joy and grief, but also navigating just life through whatever I had to do to get to Allure. And after like most of my events, somebody always comes up to me and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so happy you shared your story. Like, I'm so inspired because I actually lost my dad, or
Mm,
I lost my mom last year, and I don't I it's just hearing your story and hearing how that worked out for you is just really inspiring me." And that always sends a chill down my back, because I feel like it's just intentional work. And I feel as though I always say that Allure is more of like a sacred space than just some space to just do painting. It is it's spiritually curated for whoever is meant to be there to actually be there and to feel connected and to feel inspired. So whenever they tell me that, I'm like, oh my gosh, really? Like, I'm so happy that you came out. And it's so beautiful to hear that people are seeing the fact that I experienced two very strong losses and was able to come out on the other side a different person, but still navigating my passion and my purpose and never letting that go. Um, and then on the other side, I think whenever I see just a student's face light up of their artwork, And knowing that, I think I'm always like, where else can they do this? Where else can they get this experience to learn about selling their own artwork? Where else is
Mhm.
it going to happen for them? Maybe it'll be in the future. Maybe it can be anywhere, but right now at this time, if a 5-year old can name their price of $50 for their canvas and have it up in an art gallery and have someone
Mhm.
say, I want to buy that from you, what does that do? Right? What is that
Mhm.
term impact of showing you like that's a possibility? You can sell your art, right? And then even having students, I've had students that their parents text me like, "Oh, she says she want to open up an art studio just like you." And knowing I didn't have that, right? And so
Mhm.
to provide something that is such a key necessity for kids and for adults to heal, to see what the possibility of their life can be further after this when they really tap into their art, is priceless. And I'm not doing it for the money. I'm literally doing it just for that opportunity for people to get to say, oh, wow, like I went there, I created, I met this really awesome owner, and now I want to do this. Like that's really, it's a an accelerator, right?
Mhm.
And so whenever I get a reminder of how I'm an accelerator for people, it always like lights me up on the inside.
Well, you are definitely an accelerator for Serenity. I love the fact that she has a art teacher that she can look up to, a black art teacher at that, a women black art teacher at that. But it is definitely motivational because it does show you the possibility of what could be. There's been research around like, what are some different things that you could do with art? What route can I go with art? But just even to be a part of a space where you have someone like you showing her the skills, showing her that it's possible, that's big. And it definitely matters and it's super important for our children. So thank you for the work that you continue to do for not only my daughter, but for the community as well.
Yes, Seren. Thank you. Every time I see you, I'm like, Serenity.
You do say
Hi, Seren. She's like,
that
but
is
yeah,
so
I
funny.
love her.
Now, what lessons has entrepreneurship taught you that you wish you knew earlier?
Mm. Faith in Jesus Christ himself. Jesus. I mean, that's something I always had from the beginning, but I think always having, so as an entrepreneur, you have to have a strong faith. Whatever it is that you're doing, you have to have some type of an anchor, because there will be moments that you're doubting yourself, you're questioning yourself, other people make you question yourself, that you're feeling anxiety, that you're feeling worry. And or you're feeling afraid to do certain things, and you have to really tap into whatever it is that your anchor, or whoever your anchor is. And for me, that is Jesus Christ. And if it wasn't for my faith, I don't
Mhm.
know where I would really be. I don't know where I would really see myself. So that in itself is huge for me. And then I think discipline goes right hand in hand in that. I
Mhm.
definitely recognize that. Um, you have to have a lot of self discipline and knowing that you are your biggest advocate. You are your biggest cheerleader. You are the person that has to tell you to get up and create your schedule and follow up with this person and email this person back and show up for this and be present. And sometimes you don't feel like doing that. Sometimes you kind of like, "Ugh, I just want to be on the couch and watch Netflix and be a regular person." And then you're like, wait, but I'm not doing regular work. I'm
Mhm.
doing a bigger mission. I have a bigger vision. I have something that's placed within me that I need to actually do. So I think the faith and the discipline are two major things. And that knowing that one thing I just always find myself going back to is also this idea that I have everything that I need. I
Mhm.
don't have to always be on, we sometimes are always trying to get more or trying to get to that next thing, that next level or
Mhm.
whatever we have to do. And sometimes we have to find peace in knowing that, you know, I'm good. and it's going to work out the way that it's meant to. And even if I get one person that buys a ticket for this class, I did my due diligence, and I'm not going to beat myself up about it. It's not
Mhm.
going to be perfect. It's not going to be what I expect, right?
Mhm.
But I definitely feel like, okay, whatever it is that I have in my mind and towards my purpose and my mission and my vision, I'm so grounded in it that I know that God is working things out for my good, whether I'm trying or not.
Absolutely, absolutely. We got a comment on
Oh,
the live, and I was trying to. Okay, so hi, I
hi.
am Ray Robinson. He said, "Art is an creative expression from an internal space that shows up in many forms to include music, paintings, sculptures, dance, and many others outward expressions." Love this.
Very true. Amen. That's why I say everyone is an artist. People come in there like, I'm not an artist. I got to sit close to the front. I'm like, no, you, ma'am, the way you put that outfit on, you are an artist. Beat that face. You put them eyebrows on, child. You started, okay? Like, don't downplay yourself just because you may not be a painter, but
Mhm.
everything is art. Everything is art. Art is everywhere in how you talk and in your poetry and how you decorate your home and how you cook. That's why it's called culinary arts, right? Because it's an art.
Yeah.
Everything is an art. And we have to get out of this idea of like, oh,
Mhm.
artists, ooh. Like, no.
I love that. And you put it into a good perspective too, to think about art in so many different ways. Like you don't stop and realize what one like how one thing could be in so many different things. You know, this year I had to teach science and I was teaching history before and I love history and I was like, "Oh, this is a shift." And
Mm,
then they kept saying science is in everything and I really had to think about it. I'm like, "You know what? You're right. It is." But it's the mindset and the shift like to push the thinking on the work it is that you do. Now, what advice would you give to the next generation of entrepreneurs who may feel unsure or discouraged?
Um, find community. Find community, find the right people, find mentors, find other like minded creative individuals who can inspire you, who you can collaborate with, because it's not just you're not just like a one show pony. Like you
Mhm.
have to lean on others, you have to do the work to connect in order to grow. So I think the biggest thing, and especially finding a mentor, um,
Mhm.
I'm fortunate to have found two other women from social media who had art spaces in other areas, one in Boston and one in Dallas. And they both are women of color. And we ended up just connecting and having Zoom meetings randomly once a month just to talk about what we are experiencing.
Mhm.
So we have to try to find or create those spaces. If you don't see those spaces of community, of creativity, of all of that, like create your own. I used to have to, sometimes we just go out with our friends just going out to eat. Instead, we need to maybe make time to say, "Hey, let's have an admin day. Let's have
Mhm.
a day where we just come together. We can just talk about whatever our creative goals are and work
Mhm.
goal setting and planning, but knowing that if you kind of are surrounding yourself with people who are not uplifting, who are not in alignment with growth or with them navigating their own journey, they're going to only hold you back. So we have to find community. We have to find connection. Go to the events. Go to the, yes, hello, shout out to the mob. Heard you. Oh, heard you, right? Because you have to talk to people, or if you, and I'll say even for me, my first step. So I'll say for everybody, your first step is acknowledging you're an artist. That whatever you do, you have some type of art. Your second step is to surround yourself with people who do the work that you would like to be doing or work that inspires you. Because once I started my Instagram sharing my art, And then I started connecting with art galleries, like just following art pages, following artists. And I'm like, oh, they have an art show going on over here. And then I'll just go by myself, just knowing that that's something that I know I'm always going to feel uplifted from afterward, even if it's whack. I'm like, I'm still just going to go and do that in order for me to connect. And then when I go there, I'm like, okay, I could choose to either not talk to anybody here, or I could just connect and say, hi, I really like your shirt, or is this your art, or whatever, and just have a conversation. The next thing you know, they inviting you to their show next week, and now it just continues to grow, right? So we have to be okay with community, with networking, with speaking up for ourselves, with having your little spiel of what you do ready, and knowing that you don't want to go there and just stand in the corner staring at people. You have to be able to at least open up a conversation and get yourself out there, right? So definitely mentorship, community, networking, those are major things. And then just knowing that you always have to believe in your art. When you start listening to the negative, that's the enemy telling you that this is not what you should be doing. And every time you are doing God's work in some type of way, and I say God's work meaning sharing your art, because it's going to inspire someone. Anytime you're in that space, the enemy will come in and try to take you off your route. And that means talking you down. That means telling other people, oh, yeah, we're going to mess with it. No, you got to rebuke the thoughts of the enemy. Literally, I'd be like, not today, Satan. Okay. I don't need that energy right now. Like, literally, they'll try every little thing to throw you off. Right. And you have to have the mental fortitude. You have to have the faith based grounding to say, you know what, this is still for me. I'm still going to show up. And even if I'm feeling flustered, I'm feeling discouraged, I know that whatever lesson I'm supposed to learn from this, I'm going to get there and be grounded in that and just continue. Because there's so many times where I'll be like, I don't want to do this. Like, I ain't showing up, or I'm about to have an event and now my speaker is not working. I'm like, oh Lord. Or I'm like, oh my gosh, only one person bought a ticket or two people bought a ticket. I don't want to go out there and do. I had the most amazing transformative event with four people, and we were able to connect, to talk, and to this day I'm still connected to those people. So everything is intentional, everything is God's doing, and you have to stay faithful in knowing that whatever's meant for you, you'll be good, for real.
That's right. That's right. Everything is intentional, and everything that is meant for you is definitely going to be for you. Amy, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us on tonight's live. Now, before we head out, is there anything that you would like to share with the viewers that you did not get a chance to share? Make sure y'all following her, y'all. Please let
Yeah.
us know your Instagram, where to find you, how to book a class. Give it to us.
So you can find us at Allure Art Academy. You can also follow me at Amy Allure, but I'd rather you follow the academy so you can see what I'm doing at the studio. Um, I am open right now. I think my biggest thing I'm working on is getting more creatives to come into the space to do their own class, whether that's a creative class or just something that's going to transform the community. It could be a financial talk class. It can be just like some type of therapy healing class, whatever type of creative workshop that you want to do. You need to bring that to Allure. I want you to connect with me. I have a special for a 2 hour or 3 hour class, and it includes everything in the space. And you just bring your people and have your agenda of whatever you're doing. And I even offer mentorship and also marketing opportunities to connect with Allure people. So just come and do your class, because I am not trying to have this just be the Amy show. I need other artists to come in and to soak up the beauty of this space that I have. I'm just so grateful for that. And then come out for an event. We have different events on either Thursdays or Fridays. My favorite was some Thursdays we do soul sessions, and that's listening to an impactful artist who has soulful music and listening to their album. And you can paint either just a free intuitive painting without a sketch, or you can paint the album cover. And we have prompts talking about the music. Last time we did Cleo Soul. If you know, oh, she is just soul sister. And the next one is Jill Scott, and I think I might squeeze a Ari Lennox one in there, and possibly a D'Angelo. So we're gonna have some different nights, and we did a vinyl giveaway at the end. But yeah, I'm doing like and then the kids art classes. If you know a student ages 5 to 12 who loves to do art, sign them up just for a trial at Allure. It is a 2 hour class. You could go do your laundry, go do your groceries, and come back and pick them up. And they will have an amazing experience connecting with other kids that are also into art and letting them create something that is so beautiful, something that is very unique. And they learn about artists of color, which is the best thing ever. Because I have to do my research. I'm like, wait, who is doing dope things right now? I need to teach them about these people. So that's every Saturday. And I do have a 5 class bundle with that. And I have a program starting up. That's where Serenity was in, where she got to be a part of an art show. So we have we have a lot of things going on for everyone. Just stay connected. Let people know that the space is here. And if you want to do something, just connect with me. And yeah, I can't wait to see you share your allure with us at Allure Art Academy.
You heard it live from Amy Allure herself. Make sure you're following her on all social media platforms. And remember, your allure, like Amy said, is anything that you can want it to be. And it's affirmations are important too, and it's so important to ground ourselves. So I want everybody to think I tap into my allure by being fully myself. I don't perform, I don't chase, I don't shrink. My authenticity is my power, effortless, confident, undeniable. And when I show up as I am, I attract what's meant for me. And that, Amy, is the allure. Well, thank you so much for coming on. We also want to shout out, as we were talking about earlier, community. Shout out to the mob, master in our business. Make sure that you're following for all of your business needs. We heard from an amazing artist, Amy, who is at Allure Art Academy. Scan to visit our site as well, Serenity Nail Polish. Make sure you're checking out the ebook as well, Entrepreneurship 101, where you can get all of the tips that you need. And until next Monday, be safe, everybody. And remember, don't forget, walk into the rest of this week knowing your allure.